please welcome the Member of Parliament, Rob Oliphant, who is the Parliamentary Secretary as well to the Foreign Affairs Minister.
I can speak loudly. I think this is on. First, let me begin by thanking the community for inviting me to be with you today. I find this is a very emotional day for me. I thought I would hold it together. But when I look out at the faces of the Rohingya community here in Kitchener-Waterloo, as well as in the surrounding area from Toronto to London to everywhere, your courage, your strength, your patience, your endurance, your commitment to justice, your commitment to love, your commitment to ending hatred and violence in the world feeds me every day. It keeps me going as a politician, as a parliamentarian, and as a human being. What the Rohingya people have been through, not just in the last 6 years, but particularly in the last 6 years, in finding a place for dignity, in finding a place for citizenship, in finding a place for honor, in finding a place for respect, no other people has had to endure everything that you as a community have endured. And so by that means, I am inspired, I am encouraged, and I am helped by your witness every day. We stand here on this very sad anniversary of 6 years of a genocide that began years earlier. And it began when people were diminished and less than other people. It began by the failure to respect minority rights, language rights, religious rights, human rights. It began as a group of people, as people who were simply trying to live their lives, live their faith, and live in a community, and they were expelled. The clearance operations that began some 7 years ago, which eventually led to some over 700,000 people escaping for their lives and finding a home across the border in Bangladesh, and eventually joining those who were already at Cox's Bazar. And now 1 million people facing dislocation, poverty, extreme conditions of neglect at times that overwhelm us is something that our world continues to need attention to, pay attention to. When I first met with the community some 6 years ago, we understood as a government that Canada had to play a leadership role in this situation. Very quickly, Bob Rae was appointed as a special envoy, not just to Myanmar, but to the Rohingya people, and began very quickly looking at the situation to understand that Canada had to play two particular roles. One role was the humanitarian and compassionate role to ensure that nobody would be forced to return to Myanmar unless it was safe for them to do so, and that we would assist Bangladesh in hosting, and thank Bangladesh for hosting 1 million people in their midst. He toured Cox's Bazar, as I did as well. I went to Cox's Bazar and I saw the conditions, I saw the NGOs that Canada invested in that first tranche of money, the first 3-year program. People working with NGOs, working with organizations, working with the human beings who want to reach out and help other people. But that's only half the story. The other story is holding Myanmar to account, getting justice, holding Myanmar account through this steady, slow process. And so that's why Canada worked with the Gambia and the Netherlands to go to the International Court of Justice. Gambia is leading the way, and we thought it was very important to have a Muslim country, an Islamic state, take that message to The Hague, but we knew they couldn't do it alone.
we knew it was absolutely critically important that Canada and the Netherlands, but particularly Canada, stand with them, give them the best legal teams, help them with finances, and ensure that this case would be heard in The Hague in the most effective way. We have continued to do that as we have tried to find ways to continue to support the humanitarian crisis that Rohingya face, not only in Cox's Bazar, but other places as well, but also continuing to be with Rohingya who shelter in place in Myanmar, who continue, especially after the military junta, especially after the undemocratic taking over of a government, their lives have become worse. Their lives have become daily experiences of hell and terror. And Canada needs to stand with them, as we will continue to stand with them. The Rohingya community in Canada is a small community, but it is a mighty community, and the voices have been heard. Our minister, Melanie Joly, has continually raised this issue, most recently with the ASEAN countries. We will continue to push Myanmar. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I had the opportunity to meet with the de facto foreign minister from the National Unity Government to talk with her about Canada's position and ensure that we are speaking with one voice. We will work with the forces of democracy, of human rights, of dignity and religious freedom whenever we can get the chance. And so I stand here particularly humbled. I stand here humbled at your strength and courage. I stand here humbled at your persistence and your demands, which are right and just and need to be acted on every day. But I stand also in the memory of those who have died, those who have lost their lives at the hands of a country that failed to respect their dignity. I want to mention one person in particular, even though many have died. I want to talk about my friend Mohibullah, whose life was taken from him, whose family was put at risk in Cox's Bazar because he spoke a moderate, restorative, dignified response to the crisis which the Rohingya people face. I met with him in Cox's Bazar. I met with him again in Washington, D.C., and though small of stature, he was a powerful and mighty force for good in the community and the world. Many opinions existed, but he continually stood, and he lost his life for his opinions. Before he died, he asked me to do two things: to never give up on the Rohingya people in their quest for full citizenship, dignity, and life in their homeland. But he also asked me to take care of his family. That we have been doing, and I am so proud that they have found places in Canada to live. We will continue to do that. This government will stand with the Rohingya people. It is a long, slow process. Justice does not come easily, does not come quickly, but we will work until we have made it right, until those who have committed these atrocities are held to account, and Rohingya are allowed to live freely and without any fear of their safety wherever they want to live. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. It is very good to be here.